Just two more of these after this week. This season's flying by, isn't it?
It is, man. Every year you get towards this and you're like, man, it went so fast. But yeah, it's been fun.
Congrats again on Tuesday. That was a special night.
Yeah, it was good. It was a lot of good things going on, and the execution was at a high level, and the place was rocking, which I knew it would be. So it was fun to deliver that kind of performance in front of the home fans.
Yeah, the crowd execution was at a high level too.
It was. It always is, and I knew for that game, welcoming Kansas here for the first time as a Big 12 member, would be rocking, and it definitely didn't disappoint.
Last year was a good year for BYU in its first year in the Big 12, but they never had a true win streak, right? More than 2 wins in a row. You've already had now a pair of 3-game win streaks. One became 4. Now you're on another 3-game win streak. Yep.
We've been able to, as we say, stack days, stack wins, and it's just a product of a season is about growth, and it's about getting better every day. I know that sounds really coachy, but it really is. And especially this year for me, as the leader coming in with a totally new environment, obviously all new players for me, and just a lot of newness for the guys as well. So just a lot of learning. It takes a while sometimes to figure things out, and we are figuring some things out. We still have a lot of stuff we got to keep getting better at, but just the guys' belief in what we're doing, I think, is growing.
You're never the same team throughout the course of a college season. Ideally, you're getting better as you go.
You are, and I mean that's kind of what we preach, to our guys. We just kind of whatever the next. I said this last week, but whatever's next, we would just want to make that the best. So today we had a great practice. Tomorrow we want to come and have another good practice, and then the shoot around will follow that, and then the game, and you just try to keep, getting better in each one of those environments.
So the first win in the streak was at West Virginia, and I want to take us back a little bit because I think it might carry in. You had a really tough day at Cincinnati. It didn't go your way on a weekend. You had to bounce back in a tough place to play in Morgantown, and you've won every game since. Can you take us back to that sequence of events where you had a rough day at Cincy and then responded really well, and it seems to have kind of carried over?
Yeah, I mean, Cincinnati played great. I did a poor job of adjusting to what they were doing. We were kind of stubborn, just didn't think they were going to be able to continue to do what they did, and they did, and they beat us. And so, put a little self-reflection in just in terms of our game planning. Are we doing the right thing, and making sure we have our contingency plans in place when things aren't going right. So just the level of detail in our coaches' meetings in terms of our game plans has gone up a notch. The guys buy into what we're trying to do, game plan wise has really turned up as well, and I think that's breeding a lot of confidence in what we're doing.
The second game in the win streak was, of course, K-State this past weekend, and that was a team that was playing, you could argue, as well as anybody in the country over a 3-week span. They'd won 6 straight.
Yeah, I mean, and against really good teams too. It wasn't just 6 wins against, it was like the 6 wins against really good teams. So, yeah. We knew that was going to be a challenge. We came in I thought our execution in that game defensively was good. They do a lot of stuff with different pick and roll combinations that it takes a lot of game planning and thought goes into that, like how we can match that. And we did a good job there. And even on the offensive end too. They're a team that they weren't great at protecting the rim, and we made them pay. We got to the rim kind of at will in that game, and that was something that we had focused in quite a bit going into that game. And so to see the guys execute that at a high level really helped us get that win.
You respect all these Big 12 teams, and opponent by opponent, you say good things about the opponent, but you also make clear that, let's not forget, this is a good BYU team as well, and you want your guys to feel that they're a really good team. You said post-game Kansas, I think, that maybe earlier on in the year, maybe they weren't totally believing what you were telling them about what we are, what we could be, but they're feeling it now, and you feel it too.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a huge thing, not to get too philosophical, but just in life. If you don't believe in yourself, it's going to be hard for anybody else to believe in you. And so whatever the task at hand is, and that's kind of sort of been my mantra since I've not just gotten here, but even as I was a youngster coming up and coaching. I remember one of my first games ever coaching as a head coach in the G League was against a former NBA head coach. I was 27 years old. The guy I was going up had been a head coach of multiple NBA teams, and I was like, let's go, and that gave me a lot of confidence as a young coach. And, that's just kind of how I approach life is, why not? Let's get after it. And so as BYU transitioned to the Big 12, you're playing teams like Kansas, you're playing all these big teams, going back into the recruiting space, same type of philosophy of, why can't we go after, big things? And that's what we're trying to do. Fortunate that, we were able to get some wins, here recently against really good teams. But I say all that to say, that's what we're trying to instill in our players, that mantra, that belief, and I think the guys are really starting to get there.
Quick thing before we get to some highlights from both games, actually. Post-game, a lot of buzz going on. You ended up on SportsCenter right after the game from the floor talking with SVP. I think it's your first conversation since you've been the head coach with him. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Yeah. A cool moment, showing that the national eyes are focused on BYU on a big win on ESPN Tuesday night.
Yeah, and honestly, I get blinded. I just have blinders on. I don't even realize what's going on in the real world half the time, but during the season. And I didn't realize that, I knew it was on ESPN. I kind of forgot the NBA was sort of on hold. And, we're on the spotlight. So, I had a lot of texts after the game. And I hope maybe he sees this, but shout out to Joel Embiid. He texted me after the game because he played at Kansas, obviously.
Yes.
I talked to Joe, a couple of times a year, but, we were having a laugh about, me beating his former team and stuff like that. So, a broad reach for sure because of the platform that we had.
Yeah, it was a great night. I'm glad the nation got to see it that way. And Bill Self post-game, it was his first trip to the Marriott Center since way back in the day when he was coaching with Tulsa. And he had so many great things to say. And he just taken a tough L, but he had so many great things to say about the building, the classiness of the crowd and the building, how clean it is, just how great of an experience he thought it was to be back in the Marriott Center.
Yeah, no, Bill's a class act for sure. I mean, he's been doing this forever, Hall of Fame guy. So I caught the wind of those words that he had said. I think it's a shout out to the whole university, the community. And he's a guy who's been, really welcoming to me as I've joined the ranks here.
And BYU now 2-0 against KU since joining the Big 12, which is a pretty cool thing as well. Well, last week on this show, we were talking about, yes, a big road win at West Virginia. And now the Cougs have turned one win into three. The Cougs sweeping K-State and Kansas Saturday, Tuesday, respectively. Let's take a look back now at some of the performances and numbers that made it happen. Highlights and stats presented by Intermountain Health, official medical provider of BYU Athletics. We start with Richie Saunders against the team in lavender on the weekend. First career double-double for Richie. 17 points, 14 rebounds, 5 on the offensive end, and he was a game-high plus 25 for you.
Yeah, he was amazing. I think, the scoring was awesome, but I think, just that offensive rebound he got late, where he's chasing it down off the free throw line just kind of put a stamp on his night. But he's been rock solid for us all year. He's been, steady on both ends of the floor. That's the thing I love about him. He really gets it done on both ends of the floor for us, and he had a big game that game. You
can always count on Richie, and I really like the way Dallin Hall is playing right now. In that game, season-high 16 points for Dallin Hall. It was the most he'd scored since the win against Kansas in Lawrence last season, as it turns out. He also had 3 assists to only 1 turnover in a 24 strong minutes off the bench for you.
Yeah, I mean, when he's putting eyes on the rim, being aggressive, trying to, put pressure on the defense, it opens up a lot of things for our team offense, but also his individual offense. Just keeping that aggressive mindset, I think, is so important for him.
Okay, how about a helping of a special K? Keba Keita was 1 point shy of a double-double in this one. He goes for 9 points, 11 rebounds, and only 18 minutes. Really economical use of his time, playing some of his best basketball as a BYU Cougar, we could say as well, and a career-high 5 blocked shots in this one.
Yeah, he was amazing. His motor is, I feel like he's just playing harder and harder as the season goes on. I thought we did a good job of that right there, where they were trying to switch early on, and we punished them down low, something that we hadn't done a great job of earlier on in the year, and I thought that kind of jump-started his night. And, he's playing, I agree, he's playing at an extremely high level right now.
And he is making highlight blocks game by game now.
I asked him if he sent the one spike block to his brother, who's a pro volleyball player in Italy.
Critique his form maybe on that.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's good. And not that you need a ton of offense from Keba, but when you get it, you're so much better.
No question. And like I said, I have to do a better job of, highlighting when they're switching. Trying to punish the smalls on him in the paint. He's really good at that. Coach Burgess reminds me of that often. That's something they did a good job with him last year. But I think that kind of gets his motor going even more. He's an unselfish guy. He does whatever we ask. But just to reward him from time to time and allow him to be the guy that's on the finishing end of stuff, I think is important.
Okay, so BYU beat K-State by 15 on Saturday to keep this win streak rolling. It was win number 2 of 3. Let's take a look at the final stat sheet from the weekend. And you see that BYU, I love when we highlight the bench points, because you've had multiple games this year, multiple wins in which your reserves actually outscore your starters, which show just how deep you can be and how you don't lose much going to the bench.
No, I mean, it makes us, separates us, honestly, from a lot of teams in our league and in the country. Just how deep we can go. You know, we can play 10, 11-man rotation, which it's not something I was setting out to do, but it's just the way that things have shaped up. It's really actually helped us, I think, in a lot of different areas.
And Coach, you don't normally see that at this time of year. Once you get into crunch time, whether it's pros or college, things tend to tighten up a little bit, but it hasn't been that way for you.
No, and like I said, it's just unexpected. Honestly, it's guys have played really well in practice. Like Trey Stewart's been one of our best players in practice all year, and so been trying to find ways to get him on the floor. Been trying to find ways to get Mihailo on the floor more. You know, that Kansas State game, you know, we used 3 centers, you know, and each one of them had a good game. Mihailo helped walk the game down for us, just give us a different look. So it's helped us. I think it's helped us wear the other teams out as well. It definitely happened in the Kansas game where we were just sending in the cavalry, fresh body after fresh body, and our pace was tremendous in that game.
Okay, that was K-State on the weekend, leading us into the second of the Sunflower State games with KU on Tuesday. Let's take a look at some more highlights and guys that really stood out. And we're going to start like we did our last highlight package with more from Richie Saunders. In this game, it was a game-high 22 points. His 6th Big 12 game with 20 or more. He was so efficient, too. 9 of 13 overall, 5 for 5 inside the arc, and he was good from deep. And he goes plus 33 in 30 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, we knew that they give up the second most threes in the Big 12, so we knew it was going to be a night where if we spaced the floor and were locked and loaded, we were going to have a chance to, get some good looks. But like those rim finishes for him, he's really gotten comfortable playing off 2 feet in the paint. That's something John Linehan's been working on with him quite a bit. And when you play off 2 feet in the paint, you're just never dead. You get those extra pivots, and you can find ways to score around the rim. And he's so good with either hand down there. But I mean, it's just been a perfect marriage of his strengths and what we highlight in terms of our style of play, and I think that's why we're seeing, him have the year that he's having.
It shouldn't surprise me by now, but there are still times when he'll come off the curl and he's pulling before, he gets a shot off really quick.
Yeah, I haven't seen every team in the country play, but he's got to have one of, if not the quickest releases in college basketball. That's something that really stood out to me when I was studying the roster here before deciding to take the job. He gets that thing off so unbelievably fast, and then the way he's able to, make quick decisions as a closeout player as well. It's really fun.
Okay, another guy that we like the way he's playing late in the year is Fousseyni Traore. He goes for 7 and 6 in the Kansas game, and in this game, he moves into BYU's career top 10 in rebounds, and now he's only 2 offensive rebounds shy of Nate Austin in second place all-time on the offensive class.
That's fantastic. I'm going to rub that in Nate's face for sure. But, the thing I loved about Foose in this game was I've challenged him, in private conversations and in front of the team. We need more out of him defensively. I thought he did a great job on Hunter Dickinson just in terms of his physicality. He's so big and strong, sometimes he doesn't use it on the defensive end. And so being able to push Hunter off of his spots, I thought played a large part into why, his efficiency, the Dickinson I'm talking about, wasn't as high as it usually is.
We know Foose can clear space on the offensive end. That's a great point you make about what a force he can be just base-wise on D.
No question, and it's not something that he's done to the level that he needs to. And so hopefully that's a jumping off point because Arizona presents a lot of challenges in terms of that same type of concept.
And they've gone a little bigger too, starting Vasar last game. Trevin Nell, I mentioned Foose leading, going up some career charts, and there was Trevin Nell. He was 1 point shy of 1,000, and of course he got there the way we wanted him to with a three-pointer, and that put him at 1,002, and now he's off and running. So he joins the BYU 1,000 point club as the 54th member of the club. He has 8 rebounds and a season-high 4 assists. Arguably, Coach, maybe his best game of the season for you.
Yeah, obviously his shooting is what he's known for, but I love the fact that he's finding ways to affect the game outside of shooting. He's really bought into our offensive rebounding schemes. He goes in there, it feels like he gets at least 1 or 2 a game. He's a guy who's really benefited quite a bit from like quick decision making as a closeout player as well. He's even playing off 2 feet in the paint. I showed that clip in front of the guys today. They got a charge out of that. But, yeah, he's doing everything that we're asking. And then when he's shooting it, at the clip that he does, on top of all those things, man, it really opens the floor up for us.
Was that the little step through?
Yeah,
it was something. All right, Keba Keita, we mentioned he was 1 point shy of a double-double on Saturday. He was 1 rebound shy of a double-double on Tuesday, coming very close, 10 points, 9 rebounds, 2 more block shots. That's 11 blocks over his last 6 games. You talk about how good he is there. And he was 5 for 7 from the field against KU, solid plus 23.
Yeah, I mean, his activity level, I think, is the key really with him. When he's playing with that motor, that's the one I want him to send to his brother. Yeah, when he's playing with that level of a motor, he can get a lot of things done, and our guys do a good job of, finding him. And to have the shooting we have around an athletic roller like that and a passer like Dallin and Yegor that we have, I mean, it's a lot to deal with. You have some defenses that have a hard choice to make.
You're a pick your poison team when it's going right, isn't it?
It is, and so he's been on the finishing end of more of those lately than he has been.
Something we don't normally see at a halftime is going down the stat sheet and seeing a team with an assist on every field goal made. But that was you guys against Kansas. You had 15 makes, 15 assists. On the night, you end up with a 71% assist rate, which is even better than your normally high rate in helpers.
Yeah, no, it was a really unselfish night by the group. I think our spacing was really good. Keba and Foose rolling to the rim and making them have to decide, are they going to tag them, or are they going to play the shooters. And so the first half, it was more, they were really, really suffocating the paint, and those spray outs were there. In the second half, it felt like we were getting a lot more, stuff at the rim because they were worried about the three-point line, and that's kind of the predicament when we're rolling that we can put teams in.
KU came in with some of the best defensive numbers in the country and a lot of different metrics. They were incredible. To score 91 is pretty amazing. But they're not a bad offensive team either. And to hold that team to 37%, under 30 from the arc, they don't get to the free throw line a lot anyway, but they couldn't hurt you there. They were averaging 55% on their twos, and they shot 45% on their twos against you.
Yeah, I mean, we did a good job physicality-wise in the interior, but just, I think where this is like, these metrics you're showing here, along with like our offensive metrics, I mean, there's so many things that go into that, right? It's like a big, I would be not doing this guy enough credit if I didn't mention Akash Sebastian, our director of analytics. He's able to pull out so many nuggets with teams' trends offensively and defensively that really help us crystallize our game plans. And so, that's a game we knew, like I said, they were going to give up. We knew they were going to give up a lot of threes. That's what they do. And then on the defensive end, they're a team that, is super, super paint heavy. We were going under a lot of things and forcing them to beat us from the outside. And so, the game plans are really a huge team effort, and Akash is a big part of what we do. And I think sometimes when you hear the word analytics, and then today's game, it's like, oh, don't shoot long twos. And that's what everyone thinks analytics are, but it's so much deeper than that. And, he's a big reason why some of these game plans have been coming together.
And Akash came to you from?
He was with me in Phoenix. Yeah, he's a stud.
Okay, let's take a look at the final stat sheet from BYU and KU on Tuesday night. And again, BYU dominant in every possible way. That 34-point win just does not happen. It ties for the largest margin of defeat in the Bill Self era. It's BYU's largest ever margin of victory against a ranked team, as the Jayhawks came in at number 23. Outstanding night in every possible way, which means an improved team sheet for BYU from last week to this week. It was good last week. It's even better this week. BYU just outside the top 30 in both net and KenPom right now. The resume number at the bottom takes a nice big jump after those back-to-back wins, and the BPI number stays solid and is even up near the top 25 for BYU. And so there you are, Coach. 3 games above 500 in the Big 12. It's the first time BYU's been 3 games above 500 in the league.
Yeah, no, we're playing good basketball right now. But more than anything, just the energy, the vibes, the belief, the confidence in what we're doing, I think is you want that to build throughout the year. You want to keep building and have it go this way. And right now we're in that. I thought today the way that they came back in after a good win and an off day, they got right back to work. And we just want to, again, just our mantra, just come in and just try to keep stacking these days up. And we're looking forward to, getting on the road and going down to Tucson. And, Arizona played a great game when we played them up here. You got to give them a lot of credit. Right. But we feel like we learned a lot from watching the film. And, I think we're a different team. right now than we were when we played them. So we're looking forward to putting that into motion.
Even just 2 weeks ago, 2+ weeks ago.
Yeah, and I mean, you learn a lot from every game. I say it all the time. Every game has a life of its own, but there's things that you learn in that game that you then can put in the next game, and so on and so forth. And so, we feel like we're doing that, and it'll be fun to go down there and more NBA-like, where you're now playing a team for the second time, right, which happens all the time in that league. And so that's a space I feel pretty comfortable operating in, and hopefully we can put some of those adjustments into play.
Okay, standings check. 16-team league, the Big 12, and BYU finds itself in the top tier, solo 5th place right now. Just 2 games out of 4th, which is actually a tie for 3rd. And again, the top 4 teams get double byes at the conference tournament in Kansas City. Top 8 teams get a single bye. And there you see the BYU Cougars at 3 games above 500. 5 games left in BYU's Big 12 schedule. 3 quad 1 opportunities. Coach already alluded to the weekend game at number 19 Arizona. It's part of the Grand Canyon State swing. Coach back to his old stomping grounds. It'll be Arizona on Saturday, Arizona State next Wednesday. You see how things finish out with 2 at home, West Virginia and Utah at the Marriott Center, at Iowa State and Hilton, the final road game after this weekend. And speaking of this weekend, it's a long weekend, and we're going to be on the road the entire time. We're not coming back between games. What could be a benefit of keeping the team together in Arizona?
I think there's times throughout the year where longer road trips are good for your club, and so just especially a place like that where they can get outside, do some stuff together, hang out, enjoy some nice warm weather, and just get a change of scenery, and do it with your brothers and your teammates to be able to just continue to build up our bond. I think it's important. Our nutritionist Danielle, who's with me in Phoenix, got some nice restaurants lined up for the guys to go enjoy some time together. So I thought when the schedule came out, we kind of identified that as a time where we felt like would be a good bonding moment as we kind of get towards the end of the year, and to just break up the monotony as well.
Right. And it is a group that enjoys each other's company. It's clear to see.
Yeah, fun group, man. They have a good time hanging with each other, and that's something that I've really enjoyed this year, as well as my coaching staff. Just the guys we get to coach. There's not really a lot of nonsense going on, and we're able to have a good time with these guys.